It's Dilara from Anadolu Agency. I'm a diplomatic correspondent. Thank you so much. You find time for us in your busy schedule. We are happy to have you here. And thank you so much again. And I would like to start with Antalya Diplomacy Forum. And what do you think about this year's theme, reclaiming diplomacy in the refragment world?
I think it's an extremely important theme at a time when not just our continent, the European continent, but also all parts around the world are dealing with security challenges that we haven't seen in a very long time, with conflicts, with wars happening, with people suffering, with people losing their lives because of these wars. To sitting down with leaders around the world from all continents and making sure that we come back to a people centered approach, to a humanistic approach of resolving problems, and making sure that we understand that using every diplomatic instrument that is in our hands, it's not just the right thing to do, not just the most moral thing to do, but also from a practical point of view can save lives, is extremely important at this point in time. I know that as the Republic of Kosovo, we are a smaller country compared to so many that are participating in this forum. However, I often say that the impact of a country should not be determined by its geography or by its size, but by the story it has to tell. So when we come here at Antalya Diplomacy Forum or when we go to other international events, the message that we send is that Kosovo's story is a success story that we need to tell the world because it's a testament to what countries can achieve when they stand together and they join forces in defense of human values. Because when we needed the support of the world, they came together to our rescue. They saved our lives. They did not turn a blind eye on our oppression, and they did not turn a blind eye on our suffering. They stopped the war, the genocidal war of Milosevic against the people of Kosovo. They helped us not just in our liberation, but also through our independence as well as peace building and state building process. And even today, every success that we achieve is together with our allies and partners. So I think this forum serves not just to reflect on what truly matters in these relations, but at the same time, it's a reflection on the power of partnerships. And for us, of course, it's extremely fitting that it happens in Turkey, in a country that has stood by us as such a strong ally through the dark times, but also through our successful stories.
Thank you so much for your answer. And I would like to ask about your visit and also your meeting with Mr. Erdogan yesterday. And how do you evaluate Turkey and Kosovo relations and also your meetings? How do you evaluate?
The relationship between Turkey and Kosovo are excellent because the people of Kosovo and the people of Turkey have a lot of love and respect for each other. It's a relationship that is based on mutual interest and mutual respect, and Turkey has stood by us during some of the most difficult times in our history. But at the same time, even after independence, Turkey has been one of our main partners in developing our economy as well as our defense sector. So every single time that I meet with President Erdogan, we of course discuss about how far we've come in this relationship. He's been a leader that has stood with Kosovo. Since he was prime minister, he supported us in receiving more recognitions. He's supporting us today as president of this country in opening new chapters of cooperation with other nations around the world. He's supporting our Euro-Atlantic integration. President Erdogan is one of the strongest voices for Kosovo's membership in NATO, as well as in every other international organization. And this support from President Erdogan is also reflected throughout his entire government. So of course it's Minister Hakan Fidan, the Minister of Defense, and everyone else that works with our line ministries to make sure that Kosovo's story remains a success story. So we are very blessed with this partnership. And as President of Kosovo, I do everything in my power to make sure that this partnership only flourishes in the future.
Thank you so much. As you mentioned, Ms. President, and I would like to ask more deeply, Kosovo has goals such as becoming a member of the Council of Europe and the NATO, especially in the coming period, actually. Are there any expectations from Turkey in this process?
Turkey has been a strong partner for Kosovo in this process. They have always voted in favor in every international organization where we have applied. Now, Turkey is one of the strongest voices in favor of our membership, both in the Council of Europe, which is a human rights organization, as well as in NATO, which is the biggest political and military alliance that has historical significance for us. Now, of course, Turkey has been playing an important role, but we need to have more and more countries that support us in that direction. And I really count on President Erdogan's leadership in convincing the few member states that have not been convinced yet in order to support our membership, because no one loses from Kosovo's membership in these organizations. Quite the opposite. In the Council of Europe, if we get membership in this organization, we can increase the level of protection of human rights. Our citizens will have access to a number of instruments for the protection of human rights, including the European Court of Human Rights, whereas NATO means a safer Western Balkans. The more NATO territory in our region, the more safer it will be and the less instability there will be. So within NATO, this should be seen also as a strategic decision that brings more peace and security to the entire European continent. Because of course there are malign forces who are looking into destabilizing the Western Balkans. If Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina would join NATO, that would bring more stability and more peace to the entire region, and then in turn to the entire European continent, the same way that when Albania, North Macedonia, and Montenegro joined NATO, it brought more peace and stability to the entire region and the entire continent. So we look forward to working with Turkey, but also other NATO partners like the United States and European countries that have been great supporters of ours, to make sure that this happens sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much. And I would like to ask about the defense sector, defense cooperation with Turkey, and this is quite recent developments actually. Kosovo is increasing its expenditures in the field of defense purchases of common products such as Turkey have been made, and Kosovo's first ammunition factory will be established in partnership with Turkey. And what would you like to say about this collaboration in this field of defense?
We had set this as a strategic point in our relationship when I first met with President Erdogan in 2021. Right after I was elected, we met, and the very first point in our discussion was how we can enhance our strategic relationship in defense. And my proposal was to start with purchasing drones from Turkey, which we did, and move on with joint manufacturing in the defense industry, which we are doing now. In the meantime, during these 4 years, we have enhanced our partnership with Turkey in defense in many ways. And even during the ADF, I am meeting with a number of partners. And of course, yesterday, when I met with President Erdogan, this was one of the main discussion points. Our Minister of Defense is sitting down with your Minister of Defense to discuss this. We are going to double down on our investment in the defense sector. We're already spending 2% of our GDP. We're aiming at achieving 4% quite soon, because it's in our interest to increase our defense capabilities. And of course, we want to do that with partners and allies that are like-minded and who are NATO member states like Turkey. So we are looking forward to really strengthening this partnership, and we will do that in full compliance with NATO standards. And given how well this partnership has worked with Turkey so far, I'm very confident that in the next 4 years it will be even better and stronger.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's my last question. I don't want to take your time too much. Thank you so much. And I would like to ask about the global developments in the world as we witness every day: Gaza, Palestine and Israel, and also Russian and Ukraine war. And do you have message to conflicts for Gaza and people lost their lives for them, and also Russia and Ukraine war?
As I said yesterday during the ADF talks, from our experience in the Republic of Kosovo, growing up as children of war, suffering the unimaginable, losing our loved ones, losing our houses, being kicked out of our homes, becoming refugees, we know all too well what it means to go through a war. We know all too well what this suffering is. It's beyond human imagination. It scars not just the generation that goes through war, but it creates intergenerational scars. So it is the human duty of every leader, whether it's close to war or far away from war, to give a contribution to stop the human suffering. If we bring back a people-centered approach, if stopping human suffering is the aim that we put to the table without any other political ambition except for stopping human suffering, then peace is possible. Only then peace is possible. When we put humanity, when we put human values, when we put the moral compass as the only compass that leads to our political decision making, only then peace is possible. I'm very confident on the work that President Erdogan is doing for stopping conflicts all around the world. But I'm also very confident with the work that President Trump is doing now in making sure that through his peace through strength formula, he can bring peace both in the Middle East as well as between Russia and Ukraine. Too many people have suffered, especially children, and we know how that feels. For us, it's a memory lived again, because Kosovo has lost the highest number of children per capita of any other war in former Yugoslavia. And we still have so many mothers whose children are missing from the war, who are in massive graves in Serbia. They still don't have a place where they can lay a flower and remember their children. So the wounds are still very deep and have not healed. However, we are working together with our allies and partners for justice and for peace, because we need to make sure that the current generation of children never know war and never have to go through what we had to go through. So whatever Kosovo can do through its experience to contribute to global peace and security, we will do it.
You mentioned about Trump mediation in the world, but what do you think about Trump's plan for the Middle East, for the Palestinian people, new replacement plan?
I don't think that that is a plan that he is pursuing from what I have heard. I think he's working very closely with the Arab League countries, and we look forward to the talks that President Trump will very soon have in his visit to Saudi Arabia. And from what I heard, he might meet with President Erdogan soon as well, because there might be announced visits in this part of the world as well. So I'm very confident that President Trump will achieve a joint solution with partners in the Middle East, one that will respect the human rights and human dignity of all Palestinians.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Çok teşekkürler.